Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to Hurdlers of Adversity Conversations with Mindsight Warriors. Oh my gosh, we got an amazing guest that's going to be on with us today. But first, wait a minute. We got to just do the propers before we get to them. I just want to let you know that every week we just bring you amazing individuals on this show. And thank you so much, each and every one of you, for tuning in, for always, gifting your time, your talent, your energy, putting yourself in the chat box out there. We really appreciate it. And I hope that you've been enjoying them. If you have been enjoying these shows, let us know. We want to know and find us anywhere on social media. If you just go to johnregister.com and go into that top upper right-hand corner, tag us on all social media. And the reason for that is because we're building a community. And it's been fascinating to see how many people are just often engaged in a community like this. So I'm your host, John Register, and I am an international keynote speaker. I'm a change mindsight warrior, and I work with successful business leaders to help them hurdle adversity, amputate fear, embrace a new normal mindset to win the medals that are in their life. Now, this show is where you get a chance to meet these amazing individuals. We have one in the studio with us right now. We're going to get to them in just a second. So last week today, this is what's going on, right? We just finished up, oh my gosh, Patrice Ravenscroft, who runs our PR campaigns and everything, is freaking amazing. So she was able to do some things, and we're trying to really push into the space of helping our community even more so, and get into front of you, because I never really speak in my hometown community, and I love Colorado Springs. It's a great community to be in, and I love being a spokesperson for it, going out, and every time I'm around and traveling or traveling via Zoom because of COVID, I love doing that for just individuals. So we did the bridge grand opening. That was today. That's the Pikes Peak Union Bridge and the Pikes Peak Union District that's now downtown. It's a new district. The Park Union Business Improvement District is what we're calling it. And then we have the Pikes Peak America's Mountain new inclusive visitor center. I mean, this thing is at 14,115 feet. You can take the Cog Railway up, which is another new reopened with the Broadmoor Pikes Peak Manitou Springs. Get in there, take the Cog up, or you can actually, if you want to do it, you can do your own incline and hike up. I'm not doing that. And then you can actually take a car and you can drive up to the top of the mountain. I bet our guest today has been up there a few times. And then so you can get a chance to do that as well. So Switchback Stadium downtown now for our soccer team that's in town. There's Widener Field. And we're really so thankful for what the city's doing, all the improvements that are happening, and really putting Colorado Springs once again kind of back on the map as far as what it was designed for, right? Because it really didn't really make any rhyme or reason to why Colorado Springs is here, except it sits at the base of Pikes Peak, America's Mountain, where Kathy Lee Bates up back in the 1920s, and she rode on the mule up there, not a train, to say, to write the pin the words, "America the Beautiful." And it's amazing to just kind of see that this city was built on tourism, and it's still like that today. We don't really have a huge lot of property tax and things. We rely on tourism to come in. So we really shut down a lot during COVID, but it's coming back fast because we're not really a convention town. But a lot of smaller groups want to come here because of the amazing attractions that we have. I mean, world-class hotel, 5-star hotel. The Broadmoor is right here. So please come on out and come visit the Olympic Training Center that's downtown, the Olympic Training Museum, where our Olympic and Paralympic athletes have their chance to meet Team USA. And the Olympics coming up, of course, that's happening. And the next week, of course, July 4th, Sunday, we got that American Independence Day. All right. So whatever platform you watch the show on and want to know, we're going to be podcasting this as well. We're finding a podcast platform for it, and all shows that exist in their entirety on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook groups. So please subscribe, hit the notification button if you want to be alerted to what is coming up. Quickly, my story for those that are jumping in here that don't know me. I kind of follow riches to rags to riches storyline. I was a world-class hurdler, Army combat veteran, and I misstepped a hurdle, dislocated my knee, severed the artery behind the kneecap, and 7 days later became an amputee. This is my wife who said, "You know what, John, we're going to get through this together." And Alice said those words, and it helped me to shift. She said, "This is just our new normal." And I began using that term, that phrasing that most people say is overused right now, but I've used it for 27 years, and it's never gotten old to me because it is a mindset site that I use from it. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. And I went on to win the swam in the Paralympic Games in 1996, and then won a Paralympic silver medal in the long jump for Team USA, and in the Paralympic Games in 2000 with one leg. And my leg now sits in the Olympic and Paralympic Museum in downtown Colorado Springs. So you get a chance to see that leg, not in action, but in stillness, but you can see it. We're going to try to put some other video behind it so you can actually see it in action. If you want to see it in action, I'll send you the video. All right. Each guest in the show has done similarly in their lives. They are inspirations through this platform of StreamYard, LinkedIn Live, Facebook, YouTube. We thank them for allowing this platform to actually push out content to make us all better. We all get a chance to learn. So thank you. And I'm going to shout out some faithful watchers. Faithful watchers are always like Lynn Keir's always on, Diana Parker's always on, Patrice Ravencroft's always on, Richard Biddle's always on, and others. If you're a faithful watcher and I didn't call your name, please put your name in the chat box so I can call you out next time. Add you to the list because I appreciate each and every one of you. Share this on all your social media platforms, and we have future guests. If you want to encourage somebody to come on this show, then we're listening to them. All right. So let's get a chance to meet our guest today. This gentleman is fantastic. So, but why would anybody in their right mind want to jump on a sled, hurl himself down an icy mountain over 80 miles an hour? I've done it. I got off the train. I got off the sled really fast. At the age of 21, this gentleman took up the sport of luge. We'll learn a little about that. And it started training for the Olympics. 21 years old, he starts training for this thing. 4 years later, and a few broken bones later, he makes his Olympic dream come true. 4 years from 21. How many of you are like 21 or 31 or whatever, and in 4 years you're going to make an Olympic team? So the first person, listen, he doesn't stop there. He keeps training, and at the age of 47, he was racing against 20-year-olds at the Vancouver Winter Olympics. He's the first person to ever compete in 4 Winter Olympics in 4 different decades. He's old. But he's one of the most popular speakers in America, and this is why, right? He's got a best-selling book called The Courage to Succeed. It's been translated into 10 different languages. So get ready to be inspired, to go for the gold. I am proud to bring on our amazing guest, my buddy, my friend, the one and only Ruben Gonzalez.
Hey, John Register, man. That was awesome.
Hey, man, I appreciate you being on.
Be here.
So,
yeah, finally, man. We've been talking about this for a while, and we're both so busy. We're always heading in different directions.
Yeah,
seems like I only see you in airports.
Yeah, right. Absolutely right. Hey, real quick, kind of before we really got to jump in here, I got, I've been, have you been watching the Olympics? I mean, not the Olympics, but the
I've been watching.
trials?
I've been watching a little bit of just catching, the highlights. It's amazing. I mean, those girls that were doing the weightlifting, they're unreal. I mean, it's such a power sport, but it's great, and it's starting. The fever, the Olympic fever, is starting to kick in. You can see it everywhere. It's like it's almost like it's snuck up on people, but it's getting there. And boy, in a couple of weeks, look out.
Oh my gosh! I mean, I'm starting to get the Olympic bug. It's like I almost want to start training again. Almost.
Yeah, almost.
Almost. I want to train others. So I'm thinking about getting back into the coaching game again, and because it's just such the moment of making an Olympic team after all those years of work. Because most Olympians, Paralympians, they don't make any money doing this. I mean, there's some that are going to be sponsored athletes, and they lead up to the games. We see them on TV and things like that, and they're making a little coin. But for the most part, most aren't. So is that?
No, they don't. No, it's a labor of love. It's a passion you had. I mean, and it's funny. I tell people, when you watch the Olympics, you're going to notice. It's all about the dream, and you're going to notice when they interview the athletes, the word dream always pops up, and they don't tell us to say that. It's just because it's true. It was always our dream, and we're willing to work hard, and then made it. So it's a special thing.
So when you talk about the dream, right, with this kind of start around there. A lot of times, in business, and I'm sharing about some of these things, and you got to have a vision, you have to have a dream, right? You have to have this dream, and a lot of folks will kind of discount the dream, and they'll say things like, don't live in the clouds. But it begins someplace. How do you respond to that?
Well, they obviously don't get it, and I tell people, look, you can call it a dream and your aspiration, your goal in life, whatever. We happen to call it a dream. If that's not your word, that's fine. But you get what you focus on, right? So successful people, they focus on where they want to go. Unsuccessful people, they focus on the obstacles. But if you take the focus off your luge crashes, for example, and you focus on that opening ceremonies or the medal or whatever it is you're going after, the dream gives you strength, it gives you power, gives you everything you need to bust through those obstacles. If you focus on the obstacles, you're done, right? Because it's the mental side of it is, it's more than half, I think, especially when you get to the higher levels.
Yeah, it's definitely there's a different thing. I found it interesting. Sometimes would be in meetings in my former employer of the Olympic Committee, and they would be sitting in the room and trying to figure out who's going to win and all this other stuff. And so what I found fascinating was those that have never been to the Olympic Games or never one that got on the medal podium were trying to discount the gold medalist and say, well, they're over the hill. They can't make it anymore. And I'm like, you never count out a medalist. Ever.
No, because they've got the heart of the champion. I remember, I think it was in the last Olympics, there was a U.S. swimmer that he had medaled 16 years before, and he hadn't competed, and he decided to come back and he medaled again in swimming. Okay, so that was to tell you, it's amazing what you can do with modern training and modern nutrition. I mean, everything's more scientific now. But sometimes after I speak, I'll have somebody come up to maybe I'm signing books, and somebody will ask me, well, what do you do if you don't know what your dream is? And which is, believe it or not, it's common. And I tell them, look, what was your dream when you were 10, 12 years old? That will give you a clue, right? It might drive you towards an industry. Maybe a guy's 60 years old and he's 5'1", and his dream was to play NBA basketball, right? Maybe that one ain't gonna happen, but you could coach the YMCA team or your church team, or you could work for your local basketball club, or you could sell basketball apparel. But you see, you'd be connected to your dream in a way, and that would change your whole life.
Wow. I think that's one of the things that I think people tend to overlook is that there are different ways to get to it. So talk a little bit about your dream. Because you started 21 years of age, and then now you've competed in 4 different decades. I think the only Olympian to compete in 4, I think before that was like Al Order or somebody, that did something like that for USC. But how did you? Why the luge head first? 80 miles an hour down a mountain, can't see, blind curves in, can't see your way out of it. That just seems terrifying to me.
I don't recommend it. I'm an unlikely Olympian. I'm not a great athlete. I'm not super fast or strong, but I got a lot of heart and tenacity. And so kind of like Rudy, you ever watch the movie Rudy? Same thing, marginal athlete, but with a lot of heart and desire, right? If you want something badly enough, ain't nothing gonna make you quit. And so I had the dream ever since I was 10 years old. That's when I first saw the Olympics on TV. But it was a pipe dream because I wasn't getting picked to play kickball. I don't be in the Olympics. I didn't believe it was possible. I didn't do anything. And my dad got me to read biographies and then personal development. And I started changing, growing from the inside out over a period of years. And then when I was 21 years old, I'm watching the Sarajevo games, the 84 games on TV. I see Scott Hamilton win the gold medal. And that guy's tiny, right? And he was so amazing. And he gave me hope. I thought, if that little guy can win, I can at least play. I'm going to be at the next Olympics no matter what. It's a done deal. I just got to find the sport. I lived in Houston most of my life. So I went to the library. I got a dream with a deadline, right? Oh, yeah, right. Just in the iced tea and margaritas. That's it. Yeah. But I looked at the list of the summer sports. I thought, no way, you got to be a super athlete. Then I started looking at the list of the winter sports, and my nickname in high school was Bulldog because I was already very tenacious. And I thought, I'm about to put together a plan for the next 4 years. It probably makes sense to base the plan on my strengths. And so I need to find a sport that's so tough. A sport's got so many broken bones in it. There'll be a lot of quitters, right? Only I won't quit. And so I headed down to ski jump, bobsled, and luge. And I'd never skied before, so forget ski jump, right? I mean, that's suicide. Bobsled, forget it. You got to find 3 other nuts, right? And luge you can do by yourself. I actually wrote Sports Illustrated a letter. I asked them, where do you go learn how to luge? I didn't know where the track was. They wrote back and they said, Lake Placid, New York. That's where the track is. And I called them up. At first, the guy was laughing at me. He said, 21, forget it, man. You should have 10 years experience at your age. And I knew hanging up's not an option. And so I just stayed on the phone and finally said, we got a beginner's class. If you want to come up, it's going to be on wheels because this is a couple of months after the Winter Olympics. It's, the track's melted now. You're going to be going 55 miles an hour on concrete. And, and he said, before you come to Lake Placid, you know 2 things. You want to do it at your age. You want to do it in just 4 years. Brutal. 9 out of 10 people quit. When he said that, I started smiling. I thought this was right into my plan. Awesome. I was like, well, what's the second thing? He said, expect to break some bones. Yeah, I said, great. And he got real quiet for a long time. And then he comes back. He goes, what's wrong with you, man? I thought you were going to break some bones. That makes you happy. I told him, look, I hope it's 10 times harder what you're telling me. So the harder it is, the easier it is for me because I'm not a quitter. I'm Bulldog. And so I'm glad he didn't candy coat it. I'm glad he told me it's going to be tough because that allowed me to put on some mental armor. I knew it was going to be really tough. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do, if I break a bone? Well, I've broken bones before, right? You wear a cast for a month and a half, 40 days, and then it's stronger than before. So, it's really a temporary inconvenience. And so I had a contingency plan. I had thought it out. And I go up there, and these guys are quitting because they got a bruise. And, maybe they didn't want it badly enough. Maybe, they thought it was going to be easy. Hey, laying downhill. Wow, that's a cool way to go to the Olympics, right? It's actually harder than that. And so they took 10 years of luge training and they crammed it into just 2 years. And so that's why I got hurt so much. Usually, you build up slowly, but I had to, they pushed me fast because the last 2 years you had to go to the World Cup circuit and compete against the best in the world and top 50 used to make it back then. Now it's top 35. They keep adding sports and they want to keep it to 3,000 athletes at winter and 10 to summer Olympics. And so, if you have more sports and you got to keep it at 3,000, it's less per sport. So it keeps getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
It's turning into the X Games.
That's fascinating that you saw your strength as I can just out tough other people. I will go through the broken bones. I will go through the bruises. I'm sure there are crashes on concrete, and skin is feeding a lot of ants, a lot of bugs on the course because they're coming up. Yeah, Ruben's coming down again. Lunchtime.
Lunchtime. Yeah, buffet. It's buffet.
It's buffet.
All you can eat. And so, but I white knuckled it for 25 years. I hated it. Okay, it's funny. Whenever I tell somebody to do the luge, they always say the same thing. Oh, that looks like fun, right? It's like a water slide. I said, no, man, it's nothing like a water slide. It's scary and it hurts. But I hated it. But I focused on the Olympics, right? The luge was the vehicle. The Olympics is the dream. Many times speaking for a corporation, salespeople, I'll tell them, look, your job is you got to look at your job as your vehicle to creating a lifestyle you want to create. And if you're a total mismatch, you need to get out of there, okay? Because the thing fill that spot with somebody that's a better match. Win-win. And so you just have to, see it in the right way, rather than just looking at the bad side. You got to be optimistic. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
Well,
you remember when we first met? I'm going to change gears on you, but you can change right back. You remember when we first met in that plane?
Where?
We were, you don't remember, good. We
No.
were in a Southwest flight. It was an Embraer, okay? That's a
Oh
small
my
plane with two
gosh.
seats on one side and one on the other. You were two seats in front of me. I noticed you because you were a couple of people ahead of me boarding, and you had the Paralympic patch. Uh, and when we sat down, that's when I first noticed the prosthesis, right? I thought, oh my gosh! And so you were right there, man. I can picture you right there in front of me. And I said, hey, I have got so much respect for you guys. You know, everybody, you guys, and back then they didn't even play Paralympics on TV,
No.
and I didn't know that I told you that I was an Olympian, but I said, you know what, the Olympians get all the limelight, but you guys are my hero because I can't imagine what you did. You know, that's the heart of a champion. You know, you got knocked down, and you came back up. So, and I kudos to you. I mean, and I'm so glad.
Well,
It
it
wasn't
could
until
have
a few
been
years
Southwest,
later
man.
that we became friends.
Well, I'm glad we're friends, but it could have been Southwest. It had been United.
Maybe it's United. Man,
Or
that was a
maybe
long time ago
because I
then.
know my wife works for Southwest, and they're 3-3. They only fly at 737.
No. You're right. You know what? And I might have still been living in Houston back then because we moved to the Springs 10 years ago. And so I used to fly Continental, right?
Yeah.
Became United. And so maybe it was United. You're right. You're right.
So, so you said a lot of things, Ruben, that are just, it's got my brain kind of going now, and the toughness of it. And one of the things that came up for me, popped up, is I've been having this conversation with myself mostly, and sometimes others, about, does hard work get it done? Is it just hard work that makes it possible? What are your thoughts on making the Olympics?
You hear you got to work hard, you got to work smart, and sometimes they make it sound like if you just work smart, you don't have to work hard. No, you got to outwork competition, and you got to be really smart. But then you got to be mentally tough, right? And mentally tough, doesn't mean that you're a jerk, right? It just means that you've learned how to, watch your self-talk and how to focus on the goal. It's not rocket science, guys. I mean, I teach this. I started doing a course on, especially for salespeople, just to how peak performance, 90-minute course to teach them the stuff that, everybody knows it's at least half mental success is, but no one's ever been taught how to do it. So how do you train if you don't even know how to do it? Well, it's actually not that hard.
and you don't have to bring any bones doing it.
No, it doesn't hurt or anything, but you have to be consistent and persistent like anything else, You got to do your own push-ups. You can't hire somebody else to do your push-ups for you.
Well, you got to, your jump is your jump. We always say that, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure before your jump, right? Well, when you're doing that little thing that you guys do, you're getting ready. Even before that, there's probably a thought, like a mental routine, right? Some words that you say to yourself, that what they do is they basically they flip that switch to get you to go to the subconscious mind, right? Trust that subconscious to do the work, right? And then at the end, you either had one of the three things happened, right? It was great, or it was good, or needs work, right? It didn't suck. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't awful. No, it just needs work. Well, if it needs work, you probably know. Chances are you know what you did wrong, right? And you know how to fix it. Okay. And so if that's the case, okay, I should have done this. Next time I'll do that. And then you take that out of your mind. You don't dwell on that bad performance. And if you don't know, that's what coach is for, right? And you debrief with coach, and they show you. And it's constant improvement over a period of time. And
so you're preaching to me right now, right? So here's why. You don't even know this, but you're preaching to me right now, because this morning I'm rehearsing everything I want to say on this program, and I have a poem in my head. I think this would be great because it's The Bridge Builder by Olympian Ruben Gonzalez, and I've done it thousands of times before, literally thousands of times before, and it's a great one for this bridge opening that's going on downtown Colorado Springs. Oh, it'd be the perfect poem to do. And so I rehearsed it in my head about 10, 15 times over and over again, and I'm speaking it out loud. And I'm introduced, and I get up to the microphone. I'm the MC of the program, and I go to start the poem. I get the first line out, and I blank. The entire thing's gone. Major fail. I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do? What's the next line? What's my word? And then at the I'm trying to think of the last line of the poem, so I can just get myself out of this mess, this fiasco. I'm using some of my old stuff. I'm talking about fears. It has nothing to do with bridges. It's a major. It was a major, right? So
Yeah,
I'm
they
trying to
don't
find my
know. They don't
place and
know.
notes. I just get myself out of this thing this morning, and but yeah, I wanted to clean it up at the end of it, right, to kind of do justice. Actually, not for myself, but for the person who wrote the poem. That's what I was really thinking about. But I decided not to, and kind of God was saying, don't do it either, because my iPad overheated, and now I can't see it because outside. I can't do anything. So I got to pull everything up on my phone. Thank goodness this lady is singing the song, and I get my notes back up on my phone, and because it's cool enough to actually be out in the sun. And the iPad never did come back on for that. It was like major, all these things, a comedy of errors. And I started.
Hey, that's what I was thinking. Comedy of errors.
Comedy of errors. Just kept on going. Like, are you kidding me? What's this going? And so, but everybody's like, no one noticed, right? I'm in my headspace thinking about all this stuff, and I don't think too many people noticed what had happened. But for me,
socially,
that's what you're talking. I mean, that's getting that back fast. I'm actually do a whole thing on it. I hope somebody recorded it so I could just share it with people and say, you might think I'm way up here, but actually I just blew that one totally off the marker.
Yeah, but as long as you're real with them, they get it. If they're on your side automatically. Yeah, when I walk up to the stage, for years I always say to myself, hey, we're gonna have a good time, right? And so that's that. That just my mindset is we're gonna have fun. Right?
Yeah.
If they're a bunch of people that are weaned on a dill pickle, that's their problem. I'm gonna have fun. and so before a phone call, like a sales call, I got a little mantra that I say, right? But it's something. It's mainly to get you into the right frame of mind. It's not something that's analytical that'll that will keep you into the thinking mode. You want to just relax, right? And so. On the luge runs, on my cowling, I have it written down, breathe, relax, have fun, here I come. And that's the last thing I say to myself before, you pull and you go. And that helps, right? And then afterwards, you got to have something to anchor the good performance, right? And so and if it's a call, you know how it is these days, 9 out of 10 calls, you got to leave a voicemail. Yeah, but I just made the call. So that was a personal victory for me, all right? I could have taken the easy way out and just sent them an email. And so I made the call. So at the end, and that's like me, man, I'm a winner. That's saying it to myself. And what that does is over a period of time, it changes your self-image, right? Yeah. And your self-image becomes, man, I'm a cold calling machine, right? And if that's your self-image, you're going to do it. I mean, if you do it, you're going to get the results.
I love that. So I'm another fail going on right here. I've been calling it. I've been saying luge, thinking skeleton. I'm just.
I know you said it's okay, man. I still love you.
Okay, everybody. Skeleton is head first. Luge is feet first. And Ruben is definitely not a loser. So there you go. So
no, I'm a born loser. Yeah, that's right. But loser, okay?
Loser, yeah.
But you know what? At the Albertville Olympics, my first one was Calgary '88, and the next one was Albertville '92 in France. And I talked for a while with the doctor that was in charge, the U.S. doctor that was in charge of bobsled, skeleton, and luge. And skeleton wasn't an Olympic sport yet, but he worked with those guys, at the tracks. And he said that luge, out of the three, luge accounts for 70% of the injuries because you're exposed. It's counterintuitive. It's a mess. But that worked for me, right? Because the harder it is, the easier it is for me, right? If there's a lot of people going to be quitting, I'll outlast these suckers, man. I'll ride the attrition rate to the top, and it's just an attitude, right? An attitude that I hope it's the same attitude or similar to that attitude you had. Hey, life knocked me down, but it's not knocking me out. You picked yourself up. You went and won some medals. I mean, that's awesome.
Well, we're talking right now to Ruben Gonzalez, dear friend of mine. He lives right here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we always have these enlightening conversations, and love visiting. Actually, with your, I think I like visiting with your son more because he has some great conversations.
He said hello. He said, hey, I'm so sorry, because he thought I was going to go to your house to do it live, real live. Amazing. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, I can't go, but say hello to my kids love you, man.
Oh, they're fantastic. If you've been enjoying this conversation, whatever you're listening to, just put in the chat box, tag Ruben at Ruben Gonzalez, wherever you're listening to this broadcast from. We would love to make sure that this is going out to other individuals who need to hear this conversation. We're in Olympic month right now. Next month will be Paralympic month, when in August that comes up. So we're going to just be talking with these amazing individuals that continue to inspire us. What does inspiration do? Inspiration is a catalyst to motivation. Motivation in turn causes actions. Actions lead us to transformation results, and those results, they re-inspire us or allow other people that are watching the process to catch the vision. You were talking a little bit earlier, Ruben, about having someone in your life, a mentor of sorts. Your dad set you down, started reading books. Talk about mentorship and kind of. You can do the sports analogy of mentoring, kind of coaching, but more so inside of the business community. Why is it so important to have somebody to help you in this process?
Sure. When I got started in the speaking business, first 3 months I did it on my own, right? And I'm a good storyteller, so that part was easy, but I didn't know the business side of it. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I did something to my earpiece and it started echoing, so I thought maybe I'd cut it off. Anyways, so after 3 months, I realized, man, I'm on food stamps. I need a mentor, right? I realized I tell everybody have to follow a coach or mentor. Just follow somebody's already done what you want to do. I'm not even taking my own advice. And so I found a guy in Houston, and he'd been in the business for a long time, and he was very successful. And so he agreed. And he said, I don't care if you're a 10-time Olympian, unless you write a book, no one's going to take you seriously, because an author is considered the authority of a subject. You wrote the book on it. He's going on and on. And I'm thinking, what, is this guy a publisher or something? He's trying to sign me up. I told him, man, I can't write a book. I'm a C in English. Heck, my parents celebrated when I brought a C in English. Bubbly came out. And he said, you got a great story. You write it down. We give it to some A students. They clean it up for you. That's just, it's just editing. I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't think about that. He goes, yeah, that's right. So what's your next question? And so, see, where I have fears, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, that's what holds everybody back. I have all these fears. I think that writing a book is like climbing Mount Everest. Well, he's been to Everest. He says, no, that's a piece of cake. Well, do this, this, and this. Okay, what's your next problem? So all of a sudden, the fear's gone, and now I got a plan just like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And when I tell people, that's the shortcut to success. Everybody wants the shortcut. Okay, find somebody who's already done what you want to do. Someone that's actually been in the trenches. All right, you don't want a theorist. I'd much rather have my mentor be a high school graduate that actually did it than a guy with 3 PhDs and that wrote books on it but never did it. I don't want a theorist. I want somebody that's right. And so find that person. And they always say the same thing. Oh, but I don't want to impose. They're so busy. What would they want to do that? And I tell them, look, listen to me. Have you ever heard how people always say, oh, yeah, he's successful, but he's empty inside. Oh, she's successful, but she's always looking for something else. She's not happy. Well, yeah, you know why? Because success is not the gold medal. Success is the silver medal. All right. The gold medal, that's called significance. That means you help other people become successful. You taught them. That fills that little hole in your heart because you made a difference. You created a ripple effect. And so when you go up to a mentor, only go to them if your attitude is, I'm going to do whatever they say. I'm going to make this happen. Okay. If that's your attitude, then you're willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to make that dream come true with your mentors, then go approach them because you'll help them get that gold medal and they'll help you get the silver medal. But if you just want to be an eternal learner, then don't waste your time. And then it works. I mean, when somebody approaches you, I'm sure you love it, right? You just want to help out.
Yeah, I do. But it's also a driver for me. And I, like you said, ripples go out. I always call them also. What I usually say is I don't live for ripple moments. Everybody does something, throws a rock in the pond, and the ripples go out. What I'm looking for are echoes, because echoes come back to us. Echoes are what bounce off, or they hit some type of resistance, and then it starts coming back, and we don't know where those echoes are coming from. I could, the case in point, I spoke to, I did a television. There was a television program called It's a Miracle. Host Richard Thomas. Remember John Boyd from the Waltons? Well, he hosted this show. Yeah. So I don't know how I got on. I got on the show. It's called It's a Miracle, And you know, you do the show and then it's over, right? At least you think it's over, but they keep on playing it, and they keep on playing it, and all of a sudden I'll get like, you know, 6 months later, someone say, "Oh, I saw you on television the other night." I said, "Well, I was in bed," right? So it's like, but this woman,
Right.
I met her on a train, and it was not my it was not my most bestest day, right? It was really, I was checked out, zoned out, had my headphones on. I got 15 minutes between the flight. I'm on the train in Washington Dulles, and I'm going from gate to gate. And I have a colleague with me who's also a double leg amputee, one above, one beneath. Her name's Carrie. And so she strikes up a conversation with this gate agent. And the gate agent sees our artificial legs and stuff. She starts talking about Paralympic stuff. And she starts telling Carrie my story. And so she's like, "Oh my gosh, this guy's talking about, take your headphones off." So I'm chippy, right? I'm chippy now. I'm just like, I don't want to be bothered, you know. So you know, I take the headphones off. I'm listening to, "Oh, that's nice," whatever. And we go up the escalator, take a picture. And I said, I give her my card, being polite, you know, but I'm really not my best moment. I'm just throwing that out there. I go to my gate, off we go. 2 years later, I'm walking across the street, Colorado Springs, Colorado. I'm about to get a hot dog from a vendor, one of our veteran vendors downtown, and my phone rings. And the woman's on the other line. It's the same lady. But she says, "I'm so sorry, I lost your card, and I put it in a safe place, and I couldn't remember the safe place I put it in." Ever done that before? So she's cleaning up. She's about to throw this book away, and out falls my card. She says, "I know this guy's number is not the same." She calls me. It is. And she says, "I wanted to tell you." This is the gate agent. She says, "I want to tell you why that meeting was so important to me, what we met, and how serendipitous it was, and what was going on in my life. But I lost your card. And so today I found it, and I'm nervous as heck, you know, talking to you." So I'm listening to her. Yeah. It's kind of almost the same mode, right? Trying to remember the situation.
You're busy.
I'm busy. And so she says she was in a hospital room with another person, kind of bedmate with her, right? Didn't know her, but in the same room. And they're both had been diagnosed with breast cancer. And so she is watching this Richard Thomas show. It's a Miracle. And it came on like 3 times that night, I guess.
Oh, that inspired her to fight.
It's inspired her to fight. Inspired her to have the double mastectomy. Her colleague, the person that was next to her, didn't do it, and she unfortunately passed away. And she said, "Your story saved my life."
Wow.
That's the echo moment.
That's humbling, huh? Is that humbling or what?
So now I'm crying, right? I got tears in my eyes. I'm thinking how much of a jerk I was, you know, to during this headphone moment. And it really riveted me. It shifted me so much that, doggone it, get off your freaking cell phone, or not cell phone, but, you know, the headphones, and pay attention to people.
Yeah.
Pay attention. And I begin looking for those moments now.
Yeah. A few years ago, I got to share the stage with Zig Ziggler. Over a period of about 5 years, we shared the stage about 25 times in big arenas. And the first, you know, I would just follow him around and see what he did, you know, and try to learn from him. And I remember one time he's sitting at a table signing books, and there's a line a mile long with people. He's in his 80s. And when it was your turn to get your book signed, it was like it was you and him and nobody else in the world existed. Yep. It was incredible, the level of focus that he had on that person. And eventually his handlers would stop the line, because he said, you know, his heart's so big, you know, he's too old, you know, he'd go on all night, and we got to go speak somewhere else next week, you know, tomorrow, whatever. So I'm just watching him, and I was learning, right? I remember he had this pin. He always had this pin. It was like it was a fish. It had a 7 on it. And this one guy, you know, he's getting his book signed. He asked him, "Well, I don't know what the fish means. Well, what's the 7? Oh, that's just to remind me I need to be a good Christian 7 days a week, not just on Sunday." That was so cool, you know, because you put Zig up on a pedestal, but then he just drops himself right off, right? Because he's not good up there. He's good down here with everybody. And I'm so glad I had the opportunity to, see how he operated. And I think that's a big reason why he was so popular and he was, so many people loved him because he was, he really cared.
He really cared. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with my good friend Ruben Gonzalez. Fascinating conversation. Olympian, four-time, right? Four-time.
Yep, four-time.
And compete over 4 decades. We talked earlier about the Olympic Games that are coming up in Tokyo. Interesting. What do you think about the pandemic and the impact on the games?
Looks like it's a shame, but I'm glad they're doing it. And last I read is that they're going to allow, I guess, locals, Japanese people to attend. I mean, you're starting to see for the European Soccer Championship. I mean, the stands are filled up. It's amazing. It's like I don't know if it's a good thing to open it up so quickly, but hey, that might be your last memory. I'll watch a great soccer game.
it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited to see it. I mean, I was thinking some of the athletes. I know they had a hard time training. I would have had really hard time training during the pandemic itself. But they're coming out blazing. I mean, one of the best races I saw out there was I think the most memorable moment right now. It was what's her name? I'm trying to think.
Was it the hurdles?
The hurdles, yeah.
The women's hurdles.
Sydney McLaughlin. Sydney McLaughlin. Takes out, just incredible race of 51.90 in the 400-meter hurdle. She's 21 years old. She's a phenom, youngest person on the team in Rio. But she loses to the champ, the Rio champ, Delilah Muhammad, who had the record of 52.16, and she finishes second. And then Anna Cockrow from out of nowhere, lane 9, she finishes. So finishes third. It was crazy. And then the other thing was the 800-meter. Jonathan Brazier, the world champ, he finishes last, right? And so you just don't know what you have on that day. It's incredible.
That's it. Yeah, and all these people had a peak last year, right? And then in many cases, it's a whole different set of people that they're going to end up going. I mean, that's just how it is, That's just life. I just got a haircut today, right? And thanks, man. I did it for you. No, because I'm speaking in the Lake of the Ozarks this weekend, this coming weekend. And so so I'm so glad it's starting to open up again. And so I was talking to the guy, and somehow we got she brought up that there apparently all the clips, whatever this place that I go to, hair clips, is all the ones in Pueblo and Colorado Springs are owned by the same person. And she said that he had just called and he says there's this Olympia is going to get his haircut today, and if you find out who he is, let me know. Well, you guys are probably cutting Olympians' hair every day in Colorado Springs, but whatever, right? And so we got to talking. And I told her that that I'd gotten to compete in 4 Olympics. And he says, "Oh, did you win any medals?" He goes, "No, I just got to play with the big boys." Oh, that's the perception, right? It's like I want to meet the medal winner, right. And I figured, I didn't say anything because I don't even want to go there. But it's that's a lot of that. I think it's TV, and they don't understand that. I don't know if you've watched this new show that they had, 3-year-old show, new to me, the Formula One show, Drive to Survive on Netflix. They followed the drivers for 3 seasons, and so it's really cool because you get to see the behind the scenes. You start learning about their private lives, and it's really neat where they have a whole episode about 2 teams that they're just fighting for 7th place. It's like a fight to the death for the 7th place, because if you hit 7th place for them, that's the gold medal, And so I'm hoping that shows like that will get people to understand more that there's not just the race up at the top. There's all these other little pride races that are going on within the big race.
All right, everybody, we're on with Ruben Gonzalez, and we are about to jump into JR's 10. JR's 10. So these are 10 questions, easy questions, simple questions, but you got to add first thing off the top of your head. You don't have to spend any time on it. And we're going to jump into it before we wrap the show up. All right. So are you ready? Are you ready? JR's 10.
Sure, man. Of course.
You can ask me some questions afterwards if you want to get me back. JR's 10.
I didn't read the instructions. Now I'm paying for it. I didn't read the instructions you sent me. That's because I'm such a manly man, you know. For men. Yeah. Hit me.
You bring them in close. Okay, here we go. Favorite pregame snack?
Favorite pregame snacks? Oh my gosh. Beef. Any kind of beef. Any time of the day.
Any kind of beef. Your ritual before a race. I think you answered part of it in our conversation.
Yeah. Here I come. That's the main part, right? And smile, breathe.
Smile, breathe. Here I come.
Here I come. Yeah.
Who you study the most in your sport?
Who do I study the most? I just listen to whatever coach says. I promised myself before I ever went to Lake Placid, I'm going to submit right to the coach's leadership, because who am I? I don't know a thing about this sport.
Awesome. What or who you never take for granted?
What I don't ever take for granted. Give me a quick example. I don't know what you mean.
Like, taking something for granted.
Okay. When I leave for the airport, for example, I want to be on time. I don't want to be late, right? You don't want to be the guy like Seinfeld that misses the race because he didn't show up on time. And so whenever I have to go to the airport, I leave the house 3 hours before the plane leaves. I'd rather be bored at the airport than stressed out, changing a flat tire.
I'm 100% with you on that one. Plain M&Ms or peanuts?
What? Plain M&M? Wow. Peanuts.
Peanuts. All right.
Peanut M&M. Yeah.
Okay, we can still be friends. Animations or cartoons?
Animations or cartoons? Cartoons.
How do you explain what you do to an 8-year-old?
You ever see Cool Runnings? The guys that go on that sled really fast? Yeah, that's what I do. Kind of. You always got to start with Cool Runnings. Now people know what the luge is, but 15 years ago, that's how you had to explain it, because nobody knew what the luge was. But everybody's seen Cool Runnings.
15 years ago.
Yeah. Right. That's a bad example, anyways, because that's a 20-year-old movie, and most people haven't even seen it. The old people have. Yeah. Coach John Candy.
Okay, what your 80-year-old self? This is interesting because you just talk about meeting the Zig Ziggler at 80. So what your 80-year-old self tells you now?
Just have fun. Do something that fills your heart at least once a day, just for 30 minutes. We're sitting, me and this other speaker, we're sitting in the back row of this big event, and Zig was out there speaking, right? And this wasn't a huge event. It's probably maybe 1,000 people. And we're going to go on tomorrow. And we're saying, man, can you believe he's in his mid 80s and he's still going 90 miles an hour? And he goes, yeah, but look, he loves it, right? And then I said, you know what? 40 years from now, or this happened many years ago, 40 years ago from now, we're going to be on stage, and there's going to be a couple of young speakers up in the back row saying, can you believe it? He's still doing it. It's true. We're just passing the torch.
Yeah. Okay, who inspires you the most?
People that have overcome great things to reach their dreams, like the Mother Teresa's, the people that have the Helen Kellers, right? And that's why I love Paralympians, because you guys are all you're about success and chasing your dream. No excuses. I love that. No excuses.
No excuses. That's the Arkansas motto.
Is it?
It is. Yeah. So when you go to if you're down in Arkansas, then you say, if you say that line, no excuses. Never yield is the actual term. Never yield is the term.
Never yield. Cool. I like it.
Who should I have next on the show?
Who should you have next on the show? Oh my gosh. You ought to have my first choice. He's not around anymore. You know who he is. Who should you have? You should have what's his name? Jim Harshaw. Jim Harshaw. He was a wrestler.
Awesome.
Jim Harshaw Jr.
If you got a question for me, you can ask me a question right now, because that's on my 10. I want to ask you one more final one just before we wrap the show.
Hit me. Hit me.
No,
I
okay.
use all my energy just to answer those questions. I don't have any brain power left to ask you one. It's terrible.
Those are easy, man. Well, I think you probably said it.
What's your favorite restaurant in Colorado Springs? There you go.
Favorite restaurant in Colorado? Oh, that's a good one. Depends on what I'm hungry
when it's
for.
Just you. When it's just you.
When it's just me, kind of where I take. There are two places I take clients to when they come in, and I like to go just to kind of hang out. One is 503 West. It's downtown on 503 Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah, Nina and her husband Raleigh own that place. It's really great. And then there's a Jamaican spot that's it's called My Island or something like that. I can't remember the name. I just know where it is. Right, I just go in there.
Cool.
Go in there. It's downtown by the library downtown.
Jamaican, man, you gotta have Devin Harris on the show if you haven't had him before.
Awesome,
You know Devin, right? He's a good guy.
Yeah. So those I like those kind of spots. They're kind of off the beaten path a little bit, and just great atmosphere of just being able to talk and have friendships and those type of things. So the last question I have for you is your North Star, your guiding principle. When things go to crap, this is your anchor.
No regrets. No regrets.
No regrets.
I always ask myself, and when I was in high school, I used to ask myself, okay, you got to do this, but you don't want to do it. But would you do it for $1 million? Yeah, okay, I would do it. But now it's no regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah,
I love it. So we've been how do people find you?
The Luge Man. Actually, let me give you an easier one to spell. Ruben, Ruben, Ruben Tips, right? .com. You can just go there, and it's just one page of the lugeman.com. The Iceman was taken, okay? When I wanted to get the Iceman, it was taken. And so I got the Luge Man. And believe it or not, I get a call every 2 years or so. Somebody's looking for lug nuts, okay? Is this the Lug Man? I go, no, that's somebody else. They think I sell lug nuts.
We didn't have a whole lot of lugs except to put the runners together. It's funny.
I tell you, yeah. Anyways,
well, I've enjoyed.
I love what you're doing, man. You do a great job. Keep doing
what you're doing and how you're inspiring so many individuals, and go out and follow this man. He's just amazing. All the books he's got out, and you're going to learn something from him all the time. All the time you will learn. So hang around for a quick second while I wrap the show up. We'll get all the old show notes and everything from that. So thanks again, Ruben. Really appreciate you, my brother.
Hey, you too. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Happy 4th.
All right. So that is the one and only, the amazing one, the Ruben Gonzalez, 4-time Olympian. And I'm going in the show and I get a couple seconds here. So, all right. So here's what we have: Hurdles Adversity, Conversation with Mindset Warriors. We are doing a lot of stuff. We got KPPF, the Tactical Advantage, is now streaming live on the podcast channel on Podbean. So look at that one. It's a local show, but we think it's going to have I don't think it'll have a national reach, but you can get some ideas of what you may want to do inside of your community. The book, 10 Power Stories to Impact Any Leader, Journey Your Way to Leadership Success, that is still out there on Kindle. It's not that I want you to go buy it. I want you to think about it from this perspective, that when something happens to you and you need a story to tell, have you ever had that happen where something happens and you need a story to tell quickly to help ease the situation or give more insight? This book helps you do that. That's why I wrote it. It's for you to be able to tell better stories faster. And then join us if you desire to on our Facebook group page. So if you're looking to amputate fear, if you're looking to embrace a new normal mindset, well, we're talking about those things inside the Facebook group. And so I'm trying to drive it, but there's a lot of work, y'all stressing me out. And then Anais Nin said this: and the day came when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. How are you blossoming? I know one thing: you are inspirations. An inspiration person is a catalyst. Catalyst to what? Catalyst to motivation. Motivation causes actions. Actions lead us to transformational results. And these results, they re-inspire us or allow someone else that's watching the process to catch their vision. So we always end the show by saying, go forth, inspire your world. Why? Because go is your command. Forth is your direction. Inspire is your vocation. because only you can do this work. Only you can do it. World, it's your sphere of influence. So that's what we say, and that's how we end it. Go forth, inspire your world. We'll talk to you a little bit later, and bye for now.